with this warrior deck. Um, so let's kind of back out of here for a minute and reevaluate the deck based on how those two games went and see if I can maybe come up with something to try to make it a little better. This is also a deck that I haven't really looked at since I built it, so it's not really benefited from some of my decision making and some of my refined techniques in building decks that I've picked up in recent weeks. Okay, yeah, that's pretty useful. I'm into that. Let's see. Yeah, destroy damaged minion. I think that's pretty useful. Let's see where we want to trim. One damage to all minions. That was certainly useful. Um, plus 2 attack this turn. So I think this is a good example of a card that I put in thinking, oh, this will be kind of useful, but in reality, you can see like in that game, I was waiting to have another minion to play, and I had a different minion in my hand, I could have played it earlier and been more effective. Like you always have to watch out for these dependency cards, like cards that really necessitate that you have some other card in play to be useful. And I've really kind of shied away from including these in decks lately, and this is like a good example of just what I've learned about building decks coming into play and not being present in this particular one. So let's go ahead and remove that. I don't think that's a particularly effective or useful card. Let's also remove this Huntress. Um, she's very selectively useful. We will keep the taunt and yeah, the 04 taunt, not particularly fond of that one. Let's go ahead and pull it. Let's keep the Witch Doctor, that's fine. The weapon's fine. Uh, Given the hero, the attack is cool, but only for one turn is kind of a bummer. Although it was useful to have that in the case of, it would have been useful to have that in the case of that taunt to get rid of it. Um, we'll hang on to that for uh, a little while longer because I think there could be a use for that. That taunt's cool. Um, give a friendly minion +2 attack and charge. You know, this is kind of a cool card, but the mana cost on it, I think, makes it a little less attractive than I initially thought it was going to be. Like, I guess this could be a good late game card, though, because if you're at 10 and you bring out a 7, being able to have it charge with 2 more attack right at casting time is a pretty cool ability. So, let's hang on to that. Um, 5 armor, draw a card. Obviously, we want to keep that. That's very useful. And let's see, restore 3 health. That's pretty good 3 minion, pretty useful. But again, this might be one that I'd be hesitant to cast unless I was already damaged. But it also might help me keep minions in my deck later in the game, so I think it kind of balances out. The 3 taunt I like. This guy's a good buffer. We'll hang on to him. The 1/4 3 taunt I'm a little less in love with. Let's go ahead and pull that. Uh, Actually, let's pull both of those. And then this charge. The charge for 4 with the 4 attack is pretty good. And 3 defense, that's pretty good. That's like 1 more than the all classes charge. In terms of casting cost, but way better because of the 1 additional attack and the 2 additional health. Um, into that weapon, that's cool. Let's ditch these trolls, because I've been ditching them from pretty much all my decks. Those guys are fine. That guy's cool. Since I have the other buffer that buffs attack, let's ditch him, and yeah, let's go with that. Let's take a look at some of my other options too in terms of adding new cards. Let's see what we have here. That's just a fancy version of that +4 attack card. Well, I am keeping one of those in this deck, so I might as well uh, use the fancy version, right? Why not? Uh, why not? Alright. And let's see what else we might need to consider. What's another new one since the last time I looked at this? 2 damage to a minion. If it survives, draw a card. Interesting. That's interesting. It doesn't say one of your minions either, so it's like you could damage an enemy and either kill it or not kill it and draw a card. That seems pretty cool. Let's try that. I'm into that. So let's see. So that leaves me with quite a few slots to fill, actually. This weapon, I kind of feel like we could be carrying another one of these, especially to like fill in those 5 mana slots. Grab another one of those. So let's look at our all class cards. See how we can fill this deck in a little bit. I think we need some more like late game power in this deck. I'm feeling like a little bit underpowered in the late game, honestly. I think that's kind of an issue. Let's look at... I'm just kind of removing these new indicators because I actually have seen most of these. I've just been neglecting to mouse over them to take the highlight off. Yeah, this is kind of a cool card. Give all other minions +2 health. Although it doesn't just say all your minions. Or I'm sorry, Murlocs. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I had seen that card before. Yep. So you know what I'm thinking, kind of based on their use in the Shaman deck that I built last night. I'm kind of thinking, ooh. So here's a new 3 taunt with enrage +3 attack. Huh. That seems like a pretty obvious... Oh, I see. It's 2. So the first time it gets attacked, it only does 2. So it has to live to be able to benefit from that. But, I mean, that is the same as the 3/3. I guess it's just a question of whether or not you're thinking that it's going to survive the initial hit. I might consider subbing out one of those straight 3/3 taunts for one of these just to mess with it. I think I actually am using one of these in another deck. Maybe my Druid deck or maybe my Pally deck. Yeah, because I have seen this card before, but it just kind of caught my eye because it was highlighting it. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's that 1/7 taunt for 4. You know, do I not have any trolls in this deck? How do I not... How did I have the goblins in there and no trolls? That's just weird. Oh, here, let's fix that. And then let's, these guys here, I'm kind of liking. I like their whole mechanic of, you know, basically becoming more powerful based on how many creatures you already have in play. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Let's grab them. So what's that put us at? 28. And let's grab one of our chargers. You know, I like her. And let's try to mix it up a little. Let's get something fresh in here that I haven't put in any other deck yet. Or at least try to. Divine Shield's interesting, but that 2 health is not cool. You know, this guy's kind of maybe a good choice for the warrior. He's another 5 cast, but he gets that 2/2 minion with him. Yeah, let's give this guy a try. Let's see how that. Let's try to shake this deck up a little bit. Looking at the distribution, it looks pretty solid. I think that it's not going to be a strong early game deck, but I think it should help make me a little more effective in the mid and late game, giving me some more interesting cards to play. And I don't think I lost too much from my initial casting options. Because, I mean, honestly, with the warrior, his buff ability is so good that it doesn't really hurt him that much to just, you know, on, like, say, the second or third or even the first turn with the ring, just, you know, start building up his armor, basically, while you wait for your mana to rise and your ability to play your bigger, better cards. I'm not sure if this is going to be the sweet spot for this deck or not. Like, this may have been too radical an adjustment. I may need to back it down a notch, but let's give it a try and see how it plays.